Hey Israel, we're back with part 8 of Counting to Shavuot, and today we're going to look at the priesthood just a little bit, and we're going to start off with Leviticus chapter 23 verse 17 through 20. It is written, "Bring from your dwellings for a wave offering 2 loaves of bread of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour. They are baked with leaven, first fruits to Yahuwah. Besides the bread, you shall bring 7 lambs, a year old, perfect ones, and 1 young bull and 2 rams. They are a sinning offering to Yahuwah, with their grain offerings and their drink offerings, an offering made by fire for a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. And you shall offer 1 male goat as a sin offering, and 2 male lambs, a year old, as a slaughtering of peace offerings. And the priest shall weigh them besides the bread of the firstfruits, as a wave offering before Yahuwah, besides the 2 lambs. And they are set apart to Yahuwah for the priest." And there's a lot of little interesting things with these offerings, and comparing this with the book of Numbers, there's some differences. And we'll get into the 2 loaves mixed with leaven as we conclude this little series, what the meaning of that is. But today I want to just focus on the priesthood. The priesthood is obviously intimately involved in all these offerings and the starting and initiating, helping the children of Israel celebrate the Moedim, as we have this Omer wave offering that we've been walking through and talking about. When does this take place, so we can start our count to head to Shavuot? That's really the question. What were they doing? Well, in the book of Luke, it tells us this. This is Luke chapter 1, verses 5 and 6. "And there were in the days of Herod, the sovereign, or the king of Yehuda, a certain priest named Zachariah of the division of Abiyah," which is the 8th course, "and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before Elohim, blamelessly walking in all the commands and righteousness of Yahuwah." So here these two, Zachariah and Elizabeth, the scripture tells us they were righteous. They were actually keeping the Torah instructions. That means they were following what Yah had instructed, meaning they were keeping the appointed times at the correct time. I don't think a lot of people, they read this and they don't realize that the priesthood would have been on the correct calendar. And this was the time where obviously Yahusha, Yohanan, John the Immerser, the time frame, the priesthood would have been already doing the appointed times at the correct time for them to be righteous. They wouldn't have been righteous if they had been keeping the appointed times at the wrong time. It's a really important point that a lot of people just kind of think, well, they were close. No, close doesn't cut it. They were actually keeping the instructions. We read in 1 Peter 2:22 that Yahusha, who committed no sin, if he wasn't keeping the appointed times at the correct time, he would not have been this spotless Lamb of Elohim. We read in 1 John 3:4 that everyone doing sin also does lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. So when we are not following instruction, it's sin. It's missing the mark. So that's why this is a really important issue. What were the priests doing in the first century? Well, I don't like to get into too many extra biblical things or historical things, but sometimes they can help really clarify what's going on. And there is one historical reference that is worthy of mention, and it's really the Book of Josephus. Many people are very familiar with this. Josephus was a priest that lived was an eyewitness to the destruction of the Second Temple. He was actually a priest of the first course, and his family was linked into the high priesthood. He had some connections there, so he understood this very well, being a priest himself. And without going through all the details of his family lineage and different references to the festivals, there's one place where it is really clear when this Omer wave offering was. And I just want to read this, and I'll put this reference in a link below, or show a picture of this so you can have this for yourself. But it says this: "But on the 2nd day of unleavened bread, which is the 16th day of the month, they first partake of the fruits of the earth, for before that day they do not touch them." Let me repeat that one more time. But on the second day of unleavened bread, which is the 16th day of the month, they first partake of the fruit of the earth. For before that day they do not touch them. And he makes reference to this another place in the book, in Josephus's complete works. You can actually just pick this up and go through the whole thing. It has more references to Pentecost, Shabuot, where it does not have to land on the first day of the week. You actually start your count from the 16th, as Josephus says, as the Torah says, as all the things we've already looked at says, and once you go from there, you'll find out that Shavuot can land on any day of the week. We saw in Exodus 19 that it says on the third day. It said it 4 times that Yahuwah was gave the instructions on the third day. So this is just another tidbit, a little historical information about when we start our count to Shavuot. Matter of fact, today at the time of doing this little recording, we are on the Omer day 44. We still have 6 days left, and today is actually the 7th of the 7 Sabbaths that we're counting up to Shavuot, and we don't have much longer, and we're going to be at the Festival of Spirit and Truth. When we come back, we're actually going to look at the Apostle Paul and how he also kept the Feast of First Fruits, also known as Weeks or Shavuot. Shalom.